A lot of times we become very discouraged, and we become real wavery, and just like we feel unsettled all the time. Like we know that we're unfocused, we know that we're not focusing, and this gives you an opportunity to reset, refocus, and restart. Okay, in everything that you do, you have to acknowledge and understand that it comes from the source. The source is God, the Holy Spirit, Jesus Christ. Okay, and hey y'all, it's your girl, Oh Honey Rollins. I'm here with another video. This is going to be a different video though. This is actually going to be a challenge. And first, before I start this challenge, this challenge is about, building your relationship, having a stronger relationship with the Lord. And a lot of times a lot of times we become very discouraged, and we become real wavery, and just like we feel unsettled all the time. Like we know that we're unfocused, we know that we're not focusing, and this gives you an opportunity to reset, refocus, and restart. Okay, in everything that you do, you have to acknowledge and understand that it comes from the source. The source is God, the Holy Spirit, Jesus Christ. Okay, and if you don't understand that, and you don't continuously live your life in the way of what is said to do in the commands that are true, if you don't follow and be obedient, you will find yourself very uncomfortable and confused and disheveled. And to be honest, that is how I've been feeling lately. For the past 30 days, the whole month of July, I've just been so off, so lost, so confused, and so unfocused rather. And it's time to reset, restart, and refocus. Get it together. And remember, you can do it as many times as you want. Just understand that you are not restarting from the very beginning. You're restarting from a place of experience, and you have learned lessons, and you understand, and now it's regrouping. Okay, so that's why I'm doing this challenge, is because I understand that I have been very unfocused, and I have been consuming myself with so much worldly things that I've just been unsettled. Okay, and this is really messing with my mental a lot, and I'm just like, I need to get into the word. So anyway, the other morning I was getting ready to jump rope, and I was about to jump rope to a motivational video. I was looking for a motivational video, and this girl video came up, and it said Proverbs 31 challenge. So I began to listen to it, but I noticed I began to listen to it, and she said that she found she was going to do it for her own reasons as well. So I'm like, oh, that's something I could do. That's something I should definitely do, because just for the past 5 days or whatever, I've already started regrouping and indulging myself in the word, so that way I can refocus. And there's a lot of shifting going on in my life, so this is perfect timing. So shout out to Marquita. She's on YouTube. Her name is Dose by Marquita. So I will link her below, but this is the guidelines and what you do for the challenge. Now, I encourage you guys to join this challenge with me. For anyone out there who is feeling very unsettled, very anxious, very just a lot of confusion, a lot of cloudiness, a sense of depression, like you just feel lost and you just don't know what is going on, it's time to reset, restart, and refocus. Okay, and we're going to start here together. So I'm starting this in the month of August. The challenge has already started for the young lady that I mentioned before, who I got the idea from. it started August 1st. Technically, you're supposed to read a chapter a day for the full month of August. Okay? A chapter a day. There's 31 chapters in the book of Proverbs. Now, Proverbs is a very great book. It's fundamental to your life. I want to let you know that. Now, I have started reading the book of Proverbs previously, and I've had some great knowledge. I just never finished it. So this will challenge me to be consistent. This will challenge me to be obedient, and this will challenge me to make time, and continue to follow. Okay, so let me get into the guidelines of the challenge. Now, although it started August 1st, I do not want y'all to come up with any excuse on why you cannot do it. This can be done anytime, at the drop of a dime, anytime that you want to. Boom. Start tomorrow. I'm going to read Proverbs chapter 1, and from then on, keep it going until you get all the way to the 31st chapter. Now, what you're supposed to do is read a chapter a day. Well, let's go back. Before you read a chapter a day, you want to write down a list of things that you've been wrestling with. So I wrote my list of things that I've been wrestling with. I've been wrestling with mental focus, which I just shared. I've been wrestling with abandonment issues, being obedient, a vision for my business that I'm starting, 777, which is total complete elevation. Paying off my debt, and I have been wrestling with being faithful. I've been wrestling with being faithful and staying consistent. I've been wrestling with sticking to the word of the Lord, which is true. I'm gonna keep saying that, which is true, because if you don't follow what is true, you become a product of the world. And I've been wrestling with that, only thinking about my situations and my reactions on how I feel. I've been having a worldly mind, worldly responses, and about a lot of things, and it has just been messy. It's just been messy. It just hasn't been right. So I've been wrestling with that because I know better, right? When you know better, you do better. But when you don't do what you already know, it's like, girl, get yourself together. Okay? So those are some things that I've been wrestling with. Now, as this month go on, as this journey go on, you may find out some other things that you have been wrestling with, and that is completely okay. Another thing that I have been wrestling with, it just came to my mind. I've been wrestling with perfection. I always want to be perfect, and I want everything to be right, and it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So I've been wrestling with that, because when things don't work out the way that I want them to work out, I think it's just a fail. And that's just sadly not the case, especially if you're a believer. Okay, that's that. So once you write down your list of things that you've been wrestling with, after you read a chapter a day, you want to journal. So you want to have a journal, and you want to journal the things that you feel has spoken to you throughout the chapter that you've read. Some insight, some awakening moments, just how you received it. And then, you can add in there, how you feel about it. What you found out, what's new to you. And what's so crazy about it is, I'm just going to tell y'all this up front. When you read through the Bible, and I'm going to be reading New Living Translation. I'm going to be using the New Living Translation. That's what I'm going to be reading. And because it's just better for me to understand and grasp. And when you read this, you're going to be like, what? Because before, it's just like, what are y'all talking about? This don't relate to what we're going through right now. This don't have nothing to do with my life. This has everything to do with your life, okay? During this moment, you want to limit or rid yourself, get rid of things that are distractions, a whole bunch of ratchet music, a whole bunch of ratchet TV, a whole bunch of messiness. You want to distance yourself from that, because, what we hear, what we see affects our perspective, okay? Especially if you have not built up the wisdom enough to discern. But some people get sucked up in that stuff, and next thing you know, you all up into some mess that ain't got nothing to do with you. So limit that stuff, and for real, you need to get rid of it all during this time, especially. Okay. So some Bible verses that I want to share before I begin to read, because this is day one for me. Delight yourself in the Lord. He will give you the desires of your heart. Psalms 37:4. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you all the desires of your heart. Okay, so just to break that down, delight yourself, indulge, embrace, get up in there, spend time with the Lord, and he will give you all the desires of your heart, because spending time with him, you're going to learn, and he's going to renew you, and he's going to give you everything that you desire. And this is why, and this is another one, so keep that in mind. The more time that you spend with the Lord, the more time you embrace it, the more time you indulge yourself, delight yourself in the Lord, everything is going to work out. Everything is going to be okay, and you're going to have peace. Okay? The second one that I want to kickstart with this is James 1:21 and 22. Let me get my phone, because I know I didn't write it down. I'll read it to you directly off of here. So yes, I got the Bible app on my phone, but I like reading it on my laptop and on my computer. Like, it's bigger. They let you do side-by-side comparison, because this is what happens when I read from the New Living Translation. I be like, it do not say that. Because it's so relatable. I be like, it do not say that in the Bible. So then I like switch to I switched to a different translation, like New King James Version or something like that. And it does say that, like, but since you don't understand it from that perspective, from that translation first, it's like listening to Spanish, and you can pick up on some words, but then when you get your translator on the line, you're like, okay, I understand clearly what's being said. So it says, well, let me start at 19. Understand this, my dear brothers and sisters. You must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. Human anger does not produce the righteousness God desires. So get rid of all the filth and evil in your lives, and humbly accept the word God has planted in your hearts, for it has the power to save your souls. But don't just listen to God's word. You must do what it says. Otherwise, you are only fooling yourself. Who is you talking to? That's how I be like, okay, y'all see I gotta highlight it. Don't just listen to it. Don't just read it. Do what it says. Otherwise, you only playing yourself. That's my version. Otherwise, you only fooling yourself. Okay? So keep that in mind. Keep those two verses in mind when you go throughout this journey. So let's get into it, because y'all know I'll be rambling. It's already 15 minutes. This is crazy. Okay. So Proverbs 1. I wrote some notes, because really I went through this yesterday. Okay, so Proverbs chapter 1, sections or verses 1 through 7 is the purpose of the Proverbs. So let me go through that. The purpose of Proverbs. These are the Proverbs of Solomon, David's son, king of Israel. Their purpose is to teach people wisdom and discipline, to help them understand the insight of the wise. Their purpose is to teach people to live disciplined and successful lives, to help them do what is right, just, and fair. These proverbs will give you insight to the simple, knowledge and discernment to the young. These proverbs will give you insight to the simple, knowledge, and discernment to the young. Let the wise listen to these proverbs and become even wiser. Let those with understanding receive guidance by exploring the meaning of these proverbs and parables, the words of the wise and their riddles. Fear of the Lord is the foundation of true knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and discipline. Okay? The second one is, or this next section, it says, a father's extortion acquire wisdom. So it's telling you about how to acquire wisdom. It says, my child, listen when your father corrects you. My child, listen when your father corrects you. Don't neglect your mother's instructions. What you learn from them will crown you with grace and be a chain of honor around your neck. My child, if sinners entice you, turn your back on them. They may say, come and join us. Let's hide and kill someone just for fun. Let's ambush the innocent. Let's swallow them alive like the grave. Let's swallow them whole like those who go down to the pit of death. Think of the great things we'll get. We'll fill our houses with all the stuff we take. Come, throw in your lot with us. We'll all share the loot. My child, don't go along with them. Stay far away from their paths. They rush to commit evil deeds. They hurry to commit murder. If a bird sees a trap being set, it knows to stay away. Stay away. You know better. But these people set an ambush for themselves. They are trying to get themselves killed. Such is the fate of all who are greedy for money. It robs them of life. This ain't me. Okay. The verses 20, what is this? Verses 20 through 33. It says, wisdom calls, or wisdom shouts in the streets. That's the name. That's the how they have it section. Wisdom shouts in the streets. She cries out in the public square. She calls to the crowds along the main street, to those gathered in front of the city gate. How long, you simpletons, will you insist on being simple-minded? How long will you mockers relish your mocking? How long will you fools hate knowledge? Come and listen to my counsel. I'll share my heart with you and make you wise. I called you so often, but you wouldn't come. I reached out to you, but you paid no attention. You ignored my advice and rejected the correction I offered. So I laugh when you are troubled. So I will laugh when you are in trouble. I will mock you when disaster overtakes you, when calamity overtakes you like a storm, when disaster engulfs you like a cyclone, and anguish and distress overwhelms you. When they cry for help, I will not answer. Though they are anxiously searching for me, they will not find me. For they hated knowledge and choose not to fear the Lord. They rejected my advice and paid no attention when I corrected them. Therefore, they may eat the bitter fruit of living their own way, choking on their own schemes. For simpletons turn away from me to death. Fools are destroyed by their own complacency, but all who listen to me will live in peace, untroubled by fear of harm. Fear of the Lord is the foundation of true knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and discipline. Okay? Now, not always, but for a while, I've been thinking like, you know how you see on people's Instagram and stuff, they be like, God-fearing woman and all that stuff. And I'm like, thinking to myself, like, why would you fear God? Like, you know, God is so nice, so loving and kind. I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm not scared of him. Like, I just don't understand what that means. I just don't get it. And in reading this, in previous conversations that I've had, you know, and maybe this don't have nothing to do with you, but for people who thought like me, or didn't even think about it at all. God fearing the Lord is the foundation of true knowledge. And it's not like a monster fear. It's not like, oh, I'm scared, he a boogeyman or something like that. It's not that type of fear. It's fear of authority, like with your parents, like someone who is an authoritative figure in your life, someone that you respect, someone that you honor. And if you don't obey them, if you don't follow them, like, you know, the consequence is going to be harsh. You know that you are going to be in trouble. And that's the type of fear it is. Like when my mom told me something to do and I didn't do it, honey, I knew it was going to be consequences and repercussions. And that's the type of fear that you should have. Fear of the Lord is the foundation of true wisdom. But fools despise wisdom and discipline. Okay? If you are in a place where you are lacking wisdom, lacking knowledge, not lacking understanding, ask for help. Pray for it. Because every day is not a good day. And every day you may not be your best. Ask for wisdom. Ask for knowledge. Ask for understanding. Let those with understanding receive guidance by exploring the meaning in these proverbs and parables, the words of the wise and their riddles. This is a teaching lesson for us to set the foundation of our lives, okay? And remember, don't just read it. Don't just listen to it, but do as it says. Otherwise, you playing yourself. Now, this ain't no overnight miracle. You know what I'm saying? But now that you know, you don't know what you don't know. But now that you know, let's go. Okay? And I'm ending on that note because y'all know I be going on and on. And we will continue this tomorrow again. Shout out to Marquita. I thank God for letting it come up in my feed because this was a great idea. And this is going to help me. This is going to help you. This is going to help us as a collective become closer in our foundation, closer in the Lord. Okay, honey? And that's what it's all about. And if you continue to do this throughout the 31 chapters every day, you want to be consistent. Please be consistent, because the more consistent you are, the better the experiment, the knowledge will be. You know what I'm saying? For real, like, honestly. And I know I'm a true testament because I go in and out of my Bible all the time. Like, I do my daily devotion every day, but there is a difference when you just read it to read it and you ain't really doing what it say do. You ain't really following. You ain't wholeheartedly believing what it say. You just like, okay, I know I read that, and boom, it's like one in one ear, out the other. So really be consistent, be faithful to it, and delight yourself in the Lord, which is our source. Okay? Y'all have a good night. I'm out. Oh, and like they be saying, subscribe, like this video, comment below. Tell me what stood out to you. Tell me what stood out to you. Tell me after you read it for yourself, because you know sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you don't really comprehend when somebody else reads it, but when you read it, you like, oh. And also, I would encourage you to comment below some things that you've been wrestling with lately. Okay?